First tonight, they left on a cross-country trip. It was supposed to be an exciting time, one full of memories they would never forget. But the family of Gabby Petito is now left with unanswered questions, so many of them, and heartache not knowing where she is. Her boyfriend returned to Northport without her. Fox 13's Kimberly Quizon is joining us now live at the Northport Police Department. So, Kim, any new developments at all in this case tonight?
Well, Kelly, the Northport Police Department is working with the FBI and other agencies. Now, there's things they can't tell us due to the nature of this investigation, but Gabby Petito's family just released a statement that brings up even more questions now that we have seen the statement. The statement says the family says they are going through the worst moment of their lives, and they continue saying, in part, Brian is refusing to tell Gabby's family where he last saw her. Brian is also refusing to explain why he left Gabby all alone and drove her van to Florida. These are critical questions that require immediate answers. The family begs Brian Laundrie's family not to remain in the background, but to help find who Brian referred to as the love of his life. Now, Laundrie and Gabby Petito had been traveling in a van together, documenting their cross-country trip. When her family last heard from her at the end of August, they grew concerned. Knowing this was unlike her to lose touch, they reported her missing over the weekend. And earlier this afternoon, the Laundrie family released a statement through their lawyer saying a search has been organized for Petito in or near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. They hope she would be reunited with her family. And at this time, Laundrie has not spoken to investigators, but instead referred them to his family lawyer.
I think that's the most concerning thing about this. You had someone who was in constant communication with their family on a pretty regular basis, and then all of a sudden, nothing. Then all of a sudden, the person she was traveling with is back here, and she's not here. That person's unwilling to talk with us to this point. All of that is very, very concerning.
We got to find Gabby. We got to bring her home.
Yeah, and that last person you just heard from there, that was Gabby's dad, Joseph. He says the family is holding out hope. They want to find Gabby and bring her home to her loved ones. And now here at the Northport Police Department, the van that they were traveling in, the van that Gabby's family says was her own, is in the property of the Northport Police Department. They're combing over it, looking through it with the FBI to see if there's any signs or clues that could tell them about what happened to Gabby or what may have occurred. Kelly, back to you.
Just bizarre. So to make sure we're clear, the boyfriend got home alone, hired a lawyer, and now is refusing to talk to investigators. Is that correct?
Yeah, Kelly. So what we know at this point in time is the boyfriend returned home. He had not been in touch, it appears, with her family. We're not too certain on that part, but we do know that when investigators went to that door on Saturday night, the family referred them over to that lawyer and has yet to talk to them.
Well, you know, I know you're going to keep us updated on what's going on because much more to come on this, and we just hope that she is found safe and sound. All right. Thank you so much, Ken.
Thanks, Scott. Fox 13 News has confirmed a new development in the case of missing 22-year-old Gabby Petito. A family spokesperson says Gabby was last seen alive at the Fairfield Inn and Suites on Admiral Byrd Road on August 24th.
That hotel is just west of the Salt Lake City International Airport, and we went there last night. Staff wouldn't speak to us on camera, but they did say the FBI and police officers have visited the hotel recently. They also tell us Gabby stayed there for more than a day. And this morning, the search for Gabby is now focused on Wyoming. That's where she and Brian reportedly were when she last spoke to her mother.
Her stepfather is there now and spoke to Fox News about the efforts to find Gabby.
Now, you know, the police are doing everything they can, and that's all we can rely on right now is that all these law enforcement agencies are working together collectively, and they are doing their best to find out what happened, where she is.
And this morning, we're also learning more about an interaction Gabby and Brian Laundrie had with Moab police. A police report indicates it happened on August 12th.
A bystander saw a fight between the two and called police. Fox 13's John Franke explains what's in that report.
Is 4 pages long. No criminal charges were filed through this, but it gives us a glimpse into the couple's relationship in the days before Gabby vanished. This is the police report. 2 officers responded to what's described as a domestic problem near the Moonflower Co-op in downtown Moab. One officer wrote, "It wasn't clear, but I believe it was reported the male had been observed to have assaulted the female." Officers spotted the couple's van near the entrance to Arches National Park. They were clocked driving 30 miles per hour over the speed limit. When the couple stopped, an argument took place. One officer wrote, "The male tried to create distance by telling Gabby to go take a walk and calm down. She didn't want to be separated from the male and began slapping him. He grabbed her face and pushed her back." The other officer who interviewed Brian wrote, "Brian said Gabrielle, thinking he was going to leave her in Moab without a ride, went to slap him. As Gabrielle started to swing, Brian pushed her away to avoid the slap." They also described Gabby's demeanor, saying at no point did Gabby stop crying, breathing heavily, or compose a sentence without needing to wipe away tears. They added, Brian did not show any signs he may be a victim of battered boyfriend syndrome. The officers helped Brian get a hotel room for the night. Gabby took the van. Officers described the incident as a mental health crisis and not domestic assault. The police report indicates there is body camera footage of the interaction officers had with the couple. We have filed a public records request for that video. In the studio, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now, the Grand County Sheriff's Office is telling Fox News that they are not ruling anything out when it comes to a possible connection between the disappearance of Gabby Petito and the double homicide of 2 women near Moab last month. Deputies have not yet identified a suspect in the murders of Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner and say they are investigating all possible leads.
Stay with Fox 13 News as we continue to track the search for Gabby Petito. We have a crew in Wyoming this morning, and we'll have continued coverage for you this morning, both on the air and online. If you've seen Gabby, or if you have any information that can help investigators, call 800-CALL-FBI. That's 800-225-5324.
All right, thank you for everybody for being here. It is afternoon now. Please turn your cell phones off. So here's what we're going to do here today. We're going to have a statement by Chief Todd Garrison of Northport Police Department, followed by Gabby's father, Joe Petito. After Joe speaks, he's not going to take any questions. Chief Garrison will take a few questions, and we'll do the best we can on that. So, Chief Todd Garrison, thank you.
Thank you all for being here. My name is Todd Garrison. I am the Chief of Police of the City of Northport. Today we're here to talk about Gabby. Gabby was a resident of, or is a resident of Northport. And Northport is a close-knit community where what happens is felt by all. We are here today to provide an update to Gabby Petito, who was reported missing on September 11th, 2001. In June of 2021, Gabby and her fiance embarked on a cross-country trip with plans to travel across the West Coast and visit state national parks in the western United States. They were traveling in Gabby's 2012 white Ford van and documented their journey on YouTube and social media. We have a picture of the white Ford van that they were traveling in. She maintained regular contact with her family members during her travels. However, that communication abruptly stopped around the end of August. Gabby is a vibrant 22-year-old with a love for life and adventure. She's a daughter, a sister, and a granddaughter. She was excited to share her cross-country trek with others on social media and with her family. Gabby's family and those in the community here and in New York who know and care for her are hoping for answers about her whereabouts. We have investigators working diligently around the clock, as well as with the FBI. The FBI is present here today to show their solidarity and commitment to this investigation, and we are grateful for all their resources. Due to the geographic scope of the investigation, it's important that we partner with our federal and local partners. At this time, I'm going to allow Joe, Gabby's dad, to come up and say a few words.
All right, what I need from everybody here is help, because the goal is still not met, and that goal is to bring Gabby home safe. All right, and I'm asking for help from everyone here. I'm asking for help everyone at home. I'm asking for help from the parents of Brian, and I'm asking for help of the family members and friends of the Laundrie family as well. You know, there is a tip line that you can call anonymously. Whatever you can do to make sure my daughter comes home, I'm asking for that help. There's nothing else that matters to me now. This girl right here, this is what matters. That is it. Anything else, it comes second to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Our focus is to finding Gabby, and we are pleading with people out there to give us information, point us in the direction that we need to be, and help us find Gabby. Gabby and her family deserve that. Right now, I'll go ahead and answer a few questions that I can. Go ahead.
Yesterday, you reached out on Twitter to Laundrie's attorney. Have you heard from him yet?
I have not.
Is there any criminality suspected in the case, or is this just a missing person?
Right now, we're investigating.
Is that knowing that the family lives just a short distance away from the police department here, I'm sure your officers have to drive by his house, and to know that he hasn't given you any clues?
Well, we share the frustration with the world right now. So, you know, 2 people went on a trip, 1 person returned, and that person that returned isn't providing us any information.
Chief, can you bring Brian Laundrie in for hindering the investigation or for stealing Gabby's car?
Right now, no.
Have you guys learned anything from the van or from the phones at all?
Right now, we're still analyzing all that data, which takes time to forensically analyze all that.
Is the body cam video out of Moab, is that offering any sort of insight into maybe what potentially happened? Are you using that as part of your investigation?
We look at everything that's coming in. As far as that having to do anything with the disappearance, we don't know. I mean, yes, they had a disturbance. Yes, it was captured on body camera, their interaction with law enforcement. But beyond that, you know, I don't know what it has to do with the disappearance.
Do you guys know when exactly Brian left and headed for Florida? We know he came here on the 1st, but do you know when he left from the West Coast, and if there's any indication that Gabby was with him on that trek back?
Right now, we're analyzing that data, so we don't have that timeline narrowed down. There's a lot of information that we have to go through.
Do you know where Brian Laundrie is right now?
Yes.
Chief, has the family attorney said anything at all to you during your interaction?
The family attorney arranged to get us some property that we were looking for, and beyond that, no.
Nicole Schmidt said that she last spoke with her daughter on August 30th, or at least someone who's purporting to be her daughter. Has any forensics been done on her phone? Have the phone records been requested? Have they been provided?
Everything is being forensically analyzed right now, and it takes time.
Including Nicole's phone?
No, we don't have Nicole's phone.
And have you requested it?
Requested from who?
From her.
Oh, I'm sorry, from Nicole's phone. I'm sorry. I don't have the answer to that as far as that.
At this point in the investigation, is Wyoming still the last place that she was known to be?
Right now, it seems to be the area that we're looking at.
What would it take in your investigation to bring Brian in?
Right now, this is a missing person case, all right? And our focus is to find Gabby. My focus isn't to bring Brian in right now, it's to find Gabby. Brian is exercising his constitutional rights, and I have to respect this. Isn't to bring Brian in right now, it's to find Gabby. Brian is exercising his constitutional rights, and I have to respect that. But as of right now, the focus is finding Gabby.
Well, she's been missing for 2 weeks and possibly being in danger. Why does he get the privilege to tell you no, that he's not coming in to speak to you?
Because the Constitution protects that.
Where are search teams looking currently? And are they law enforcement-led search teams?
We have no physical search teams on the ground like doing grid search right now. We have resources and law enforcement partners that are out in the field following up tips and leads. But as far as a grid search right now, we're still trying to narrow down geographic areas.
And do we know the exact date and exact, confirmed location that she was?
We're still analyzing
There's been,
that.
some say Salt Lake City, some say the national park.
The information, there's a lot of information coming through. We have to analyze that information. We have to vet that information, and it takes time.
Chief, is there any history of police interacting with Brian here in Northport, or any incident involving Brian and Gabby here in Northport before they went on this trip? I know that they've been here a couple of years now.
No.
Was she on any kind of medication?
Not that I know of.
And was Northport Police aware of her mental health issues before the Moab report came out?
I'm not aware of any of them.
Are you able to tell us what you found in the van? I know yesterday you said you were not.
No, right now the data, the stuff that we found in the van is being analyzed. I don't know if it has any evidentiary value to it or not. Obviously, this was a van used by the both of them, which personal belongings and stuff are in there. Whether or not it has anything to do with the case, we don't know.
I know you tweeted at the attorney. How frustrating is this for you personally?
I want to bring Gabby home, you know. So, of course it's frustrating.
And he answered us. We asked him about your tweet, and he said no comment. Your response, sir?
Where's Gabby? That's my response.
No, emotionally for you, as a father, as a human being, you know, talk about what this case is triggering for you. This isn't about me. This is about Gabby, and that's where I want to keep the focus. No, I know, but, you know, just looking at her face, talking with her family, how is this, does that, you know, elicit any response from you to try harder? It's driving us to keep working. I mean, long hours, long days. It gives us the momentum to keep going forward.
Have any of the social media platforms reached out to your agency as part of the investigation and offered up any of the metadata?
We have great cooperation with the social media platforms out there.
How difficult is it, as you guys are here, she possibly went missing over there, you know, geographically speaking, how difficult is that for the investigation? We have partners federally and locally that we can reach out and touch. One of the reasons of asking the assistance of the FBI to come in is they have a long-reaching arm. So I'm confident with what we're doing here and the tips and the information that's being funneled out west. I'm confident that system is moving effectively.
Two more questions. The Petito family said yesterday that what happened in Wyoming happened. It indicates that they know that something did occur in Wyoming and that there's information that we're not aware of or that's not being given to us and maybe being withheld from you. Do you know what happened in Wyoming? Do you know what they meant?
The fact of the matter is, Gabby is missing, and I think that's what they're referring to.
Of course, but
Gabby's missing.
This is a huge investigation. You have internet press from all across the country here, and if there's something that's part of the story that's not being told, I think the public has a duty to understand.
You're looking into something that's not there. I think what the family's position on it was she went missing. The last area was out in Wyoming, so she's not here. So where is she?
Utah police aren't ruling out, it's really tough to talk about, but they're not ruling out any connection to possible homicides that happened there as well. Have you guys looked into that? Is there anything you can tell us in relation to that?
We have communication going back and forth with Grand County Sheriff's Office. We provided them with whatever information we could. They don't have any suspect information right now, so you would have to refer that to them, but they told us that they're looking at everything at this point.
Tim, one last question.
It's still a missing person case at this point in time, but is there any evidence suggesting that a crime may have occurred between the two of them?
Right now, no. Right now, all we have is the missing person investigation on that.
Okay.
Really simple question. You said you know where Brian is. Is he at his parents' house?
All I'm going to say is I know where Brian's at. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Guys.
You can certainly follow up with us, me. You all seem to have my phone, so call and we'll answer any follow-up questions. Thank you. Currently doing 45 miles an hour. Zone through here is 25. Oh! Subject just hit the curb. Correction, speed limit is 15. I'm about 3/4 of a mile into the arches, just before the gate.
sorry, officer.
You want to place your vehicle into park and go ahead and turn it off for me? No, park?
Oh, it is in park, yeah.
Okay, turn off your engine. Go ahead and set your keys on the dash for me, all right? What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
I'm Brian.
Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got supplies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving. I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm going to go ahead and close your door, okay? Why don't you come over here? SO229, I have the female that was in the passenger seat separated from the male. Keys are on the hood. You want to tell me what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some days I have really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him, I just like, I guess my vibe is like, I hear him like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I used to work at an organic juice bar, but I just quit my job.
Okay.
I was a nutritionist. That's
Oh,
what
okay.
that was my
That's
job.
cool.
And I just quit my job to travel across the country. And I'm trying to start a blog. I have a blog and stuff. So I've been building my website. So I've just been really stressed, and he doesn't really believe that I could do any of it. So that's kind of been like a, I don't know, he's like down there. I don't know, we've just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because of your OCD?
He told me I needed to calm down. Yeah. But I'm perfectly calm. I'm calm all the time. And he really stresses me out. And this is a rough morning.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I sit you down in the back seat of my car? You're not in any trouble, okay? I'm not going to be putting handcuffs on you. You obviously don't have any weapons. I'm going to get you into the air conditioning, let you take a breath, relax a little bit, and then I'll come back and talk to you in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. Like I said, you're not in any trouble. So just go ahead and take a seat. Watch your feet. What's that?
You talked to Gabby already?
Yeah, I just spoke to her.
Yeah.
So, you want to do me a favor? Let's go ahead and get you to step out of the vehicle, alrighty? Come on over here. You're not in any trouble right now. So, tell me what's going on.
She just gets worked up sometimes, and I try and really distance myself from her, so like I locked the car and I walked away from her. What happened this morning is that she's trying to start up like her own little website blog and everything, so I give her time, and we really had a nice morning, if anything, but she just got worked up because we were trying to get going and get our day going because we want to go like arches before the stuff like that.
Okay. You want to tell me about those scratches on your face?
She had a cell phone in her hand, that's why I was pushing her away, because she wanted me, I locked the keys so I could walk away. I said, let's just take a breather and let's not, go anywhere. Let's just calm down for a minute because she was getting a little worked up. And then she had her phone and was trying to get the keys. So I got away. I was just trying to, I know I shouldn't push, but I was just trying to push her away to go, let's just take a minute, step back and breathe. And she got me with her phone.
Can I see your hand? Oh, you got a mark right here.
Oh, that's from a wire.
That's from a wire?
Yeah.
You want to tell me about hitting that curb?
Hitting the curb was her grabbing the wheel.
She grabbed the wheel?
Yeah. She said, I can't believe we're getting pulled over, and then she grabbed the wheel.
What about the speed? Did she take over the pedal on you?
If I was going fast, I'm sorry. No, it's probably just the moment of, like, I'm still shaking now. The adrenaline, seeing the lights flashing up, and then her grabbing the wheel. And So if I sped up, I'm sorry about that. Or if I was speeding beforehand, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it took quite a bit to catch up to you. So, yeah.
I'm sorry about that. We're just going into the park again to get water because we have a 6-gallon water container to fill up. So we're just grabbing water for the hike. Okay. And I was trying to keep everything calm and quiet because there's plans still to go for a hike, but it's good. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that.
Of course. Do me a favor. You want to go ahead and just take a seat right over here on the curb for me?
And if I was speeding, I'm sorry. I apologize.
You don't have anything in that pocket or anything like that, do you?
Nope. Just the wallet.
All right. And then, do you mind lifting your shirt so I can check the waistband?
I got it.
Turn around for me real quick. Perfect.
Nothing.
I just want to make sure. That's all, man. Go ahead, do me a favor. Take a seat. All right. Oh, do you have your ID on you?
In the car. If you want to come with me.
No, we'll just do this. Just go ahead and take a seat.
You come with me. I'll give you.
All right, you're fine. What's your first name?
Brian.
Brian? Is that layman spelling?
B-R-I-N. Yeah, and L-A-U-N.
And then your last name?
L-A-U-N.
L-A-U-N.
D-R-I-E.
D-R-I-E?
Yep.
Laundry? Mm-hmm. Okay. What's your date of birth, Brian?
I'll say crisscross applesauce, but can I just sit in the shade because of the balls? It's okay. I'll give you some shade. Sound good?
Alrighty, just hang tight for me. SO229. I need a 29 name and date of birth. First name Brian, layman spellings, last name Laundry. Lima Alpha Uniform, November, Delta, Romeo, India.
Where'd you hit him? Socked him first? On his face? How many times did you sock?
Bravo, Romeo, India, Alpha, November.
And then what? His reaction was to do what?
It's going to be out of Florida.
He just grabbed you? Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying you hit him, but I understand if he hit you, but we want to know the truth if he actually hit you. Because, where did he hit you? Don't worry, be honest. Did he slap your face or what? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So has he been drinking?
No, we don't drink.
Okay. What was up with his driving? This officer said he hit a curb. While you're driving? While he was driving, you were hitting him?
I'm not.
Did you already tell him all this?
I didn't get that far into it. She was hyperventilating.
She's saying that they don't drink, but at the point when you lit them up,
They don't drink or anything.
She started hitting him.
Yeah, I was yelling at him, and then when you turned your lights on, I kind of punched his arm like there's a just an idiot.
she's saying was why he hit the curb. You said it was Gabby?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know that name. It was Gabby?
Yeah.
Try to meditate stuff, but you tend to have a lot of anxiety and stress.
I have a lot of anxiety.
And what's his name? Is it Brian? Is he usually pretty patient with you?
Yeah, but it just makes me upset. I know that he definitely gets frustrated with me a lot.
Way of taking my anxiety and bringing it down, but my ex-wife, I'm just sharing, I know it's a little personal, but to help you understand, we would feed off each other's anxiety and it would spiral, you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how much I loved her. It may be bad for your soul, just saying. And I'm not telling you what to do with your life, but if you know you have anxiety, look at the situations you can get in, you know what I mean? And we're not here to be mean to you or anything. Well, you know, there's a first time and then it usually, we'll go see what Brian's saying, but I think you've heard everything now from...
Quick question, you said you were hitting him in the arm. Did you grab the steering wheel?
No, I didn't.
You did not touch the steering wheel?
I didn't touch the steering wheel, but only for like a second, because I just saw the lights come on, and it was more just like, you're an idiot. Like, you know.
But did you grab the steering wheel and like swerve or anything like that?
No. I didn't touch the steering wheel at all.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close this door again. Do you have enough air back here, or do you want me to kick it up some more?
Do you have any water?
I will see if I can find some.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
You wouldn't happen to have any water, would you? Oh, yeah. You might get a bottle.
Did you already give a statement for this officer?
I got this gentleman here.
Yeah. This gentleman noticed that you had some marks on your neck. Yeah. And she got some marks on her too. We're just trying to figure out what all happened. And I know you probably already told your story. This officer is probably going to be the one handling the whole case. Do you want to listen to what he has to say? And then you tell him what happened. So we don't mind.
Start at the beginning for me.
Start at the beginning. Well, I don't want to go too far back, but we've been in Beyond Land for the past week or so, traveling around, and the flies here are pretty intense. So the flies have definitely been getting to her, and then my feet are dirty and everything. So I think that our little squabble started because we were hanging out at the coffee shop, and when we got back to the van, there was some dirt and stuff in the van, and I moved our food around. It was a little disorganized, so she gets a little.
Will you take those? Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Do you need any water?
It's okay.
It's hot out here.
We were going to get water because we ran out, but it's okay. No, it's alright. I don't like plastic bottles. It's okay. Thank you, though. But we just had a little disagreement there. And the disagreement was just that she was getting a little worked up, and I was saying, no, it's okay. Thank you so much.
It's not my fault. That's good.
So it was just more of a disagreement, and I just wanted to...
What was the disagreement about?
It was, I wouldn't even call it disagreement. It was just that I'm dirty and I can't change being dirty. Like, I got dirty feet, I got sand on my flip-flops and stuff like that. It was that we were at the coffee shop for so long because we were there from 9 to 3. So yeah, there's a few little things, just little relationships. I don't know if you're in a relationship, but I'm sure you
I've been married for over 5 years now. So.
There's a lot of little things.
Yeah, I can go.
And I get it. We weren't physical before the point where I said, all right, let's just take a breather and like walk away for a minute. I'll lock the van up and I'll go for a walk this way, and you can go walk that way on the block. You know, there's that what is it called, Moonflower?
Right,
yeah. Nice areas. You can go either way. It's all shaded. So let's go for a little walk and breathe and come back. It's pretty, really happy with it. I'm not upset with her. She got a little worked up and she had her phone in her hand and her keys and everything. And she wanted, not her keys, her rings. Her rings, her phone. And I was holding on to the keys because I didn't want to go anywhere. And my big fear is, I don't have my phone. I don't have a phone. So she goes off without me. But, alright, I'm on my own. So I was saying, let's just go for a walk, and she was trying to get the keys for me. So I was just going, just wait back up, and that's when she hit me. And I didn't get, I don't want to push you, but I didn't get overtly physical. I was just trying to keep her away and not get hit. And then I got really loud, and like that's probably whoever's attention where I was going. You know, back up, get away, just give me a...
Okay, so you said you pushed her to create some distance, obviously, right? What happened after that? What got the scratches on your eye?
The phone.
The phone? So you pushed her and she hit you?
It wasn't like a push and she jumped on me. She was already, I don't want to, she was already swinging and I was pushing. A lot of angles, a lot of nails, a lot of rings.
Yeah, you got 3 scratches on your neck. You got one on your left side of your neck. You got one in your face here, and you got 4 bleeding over there. So you just try to flip up 2 hands.
Do you mind lifting up your right sleeve for me? I'm curious about something.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit of nails. I suppose fingernails, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about fingernails.
Is it bruised or tender or anything like that?
No. Okay. I'm fine, and I love Gabby. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me. I'm just, I feel bad I had to get so public. I was just trying to be loud. This is, I try to make her calm down and be like, look, everyone's watching. And I'm like, stop this.
Thank you. I got a quick question for you, Ryan. Do you take any medications or anything like that? You don't take any medications or anything like that? Okay. Are you normally just kind of like hyper?
Do I see my heart rate up whenever the lights flash on? It gets your heart rate up. Do I see my?
Trust me, it does me too, and I'm the one. It gets me going a little bit.
You probably can say, "Hey, buddy," whenever somebody walks up.
So okay. Yeah, do you know if she takes anything?
She's crazy. No, I don't think so. No, none that I know of.
All right. Real fast, can I get your first name?
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, how do you spell that?
G-A-B-R-I-L-L.
And your last name? B-E-T.
P as in Peter.
Oh, P.
And E-T-I-C.
I-C-O. You guys both live in Florida, right? Or that's where you guys come from?
My license is in Florida right now, but I'm from Florida.
So that's where you have it out of currently? That's 0229. I need a 29 if I name my date of birth. First name, Gabrielle. Golf, Alpha, Bravo, Romeo, India, Echo, Lima, Echo. Last name, Petito. Papa, Echo, Tango, India, Charlie, Oscar. It's going to be Florida. We're just kind of hanging tight for a minute. All right.
Where do you guys live? Georgia? Florida. Florida, yeah, was our last test. Still get down there. How long do you get on the strip? 4 to 5 months now. You're up to 5. What was the determinants for the ending of the trip? Moving to a new place? We're going to Portland. Her grandmother's best friend lives in Portland. We stayed in 2 years ago. We did a cross country trip, which we loved. We did it in Nissan Sentra, like a tiny little car. So I was like, let's do it better. And it's got a big van, not a big, it's a tiny van compared to all the different. But I said, let's try and do it a little better. And it's been great so far, for sure. But yeah, we're going over to Portland, and I don't know if you're probably here more familiar with it, but Wolfing, have you ever heard of that? W-W-O-O-F-I-N-G.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it.
I'm from California originally.
Oh, yeah?
So, and part of my job, I dealt with employees that were from all across the United States, in Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, everything you can think of on your level Western. I know most of them.
It's worldwide opportunities on organic farms, so it's like a volunteer workaway type of situation where you can work on organic farms. So that's our goal once we get over to Washington. We'll do that from Washington, then down to Oregon, down to California. What part of California is that?
I'm from a town just outside Sequoia National Park. If you're going to be going through there,
we'll get good in the way about Georgia.
Right. But no, it wasn't too bad at all.
I just want to go with 2 witnesses. Okay. And I reported it. You want me to tell you what he said? Yeah. Real quick. Do you mind hanging with him for a minute? So, get away from both of them. So, he said that he never saw the male strike the female. He saw the male trying to lock her out of the vehicle. She even told us that he was trying to lock her out, told her to go take a walk. So that she was trying to get in. She eventually couldn't get in and actually clawed her way in through the driver's door. He says, I don't understand why she's doing that. Well, I think it's because it was the only door that wasn't locked that she could get through. So she's trying to get in over him. he's trying to disengage from her. I guess he hung her backpack on the back probably so she'd have her shit so that he didn't have to engage with her. Everything she's saying is the same thing. I haven't heard what he said, but if that's what he said, it's also what the witness is saying. The witness says, I never saw him hit her. I saw him shove her, but I couldn't tell if it was an aggression against her or a defense against her as far as her, you know, being the aggressor. So at this point, from what, unless the guy's screaming that he needs to go to jail and did something to this girl, it sounds to me like she is the primary aggressor.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with her being the primary aggressor is in an instance of domestic assault, be it a male or be it a female, we shall arrest. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to go to jail. We can do a citation if it meets one of three criterion, which one of them is that we can ensure that they're not going to further risk each other's safety. But the problem with that is they live in the same vehicle.
That's what I was going to say. The other part of it is
there was actually an injury too to the victim, which is him.
Right, and I'm getting conflicting stories about why they hit the curb up here.
What did he say why he hit the curb?
Well, I've watched, this is what I saw first. Saw him cross the double yellow. I was doing 42 miles an hour. I was, I don't know, probably 2 car lengths behind him, tapping my whales at him, trying to get his attention. They knew I was behind him. And then after he crossed the double yellow, he merged over into the right lane, and then out of nowhere, just boom, hit the curb.
So did he tell you why?
He said that she grabbed the wheel and turned it real hard. She said that she was hitting him in the arm. So
sounds legit. I mean, I'm sure if I'm driving and my arm's on the wheel and I'm getting hit in the arm, I'm probably pulling at the wheel.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was a little of both. I mean, usually the truth is somewhere in between. He's probably trying not to say that he hit her because he probably doesn't want her charged with assault, domestic assault. He probably would rather say she pulled the wheel than hit him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, fortunately for her, we cannot treat, just because he's bigger and stronger, and even if he's not willing to press charges, we can't treat this differently than if it was a male on female violence.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to charge her. And we can do a citation if there's some arrangement that can be made to separate them. And then we have to let them know that there's no contact order in effect. Yeah. And we have to let him know the only way to drop it is to go into the police department during business hours and fill out a waiver, which, by the way, what's today? Thursday? So it won't be till tomorrow. I know they're till noon, I think.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he's going to want to drop it.
Well, the other part of it is they said that they've been on 4 or 5 months that they've been living out of this van together.
Well, this is really bad news. Let's talk to him first. Is Brian?
Yeah.
Did you ask him yet to take pictures of him? Yeah?
No, I haven't done any of that yet.
Brian, unfortunately, in the state of Utah, we don't have discretion on some things. Like, for example, if I pull you over for speeding and I want to give you a warning, I can do that because it's under Class A, it's a Class B or under. If I want to give you warnings for all kinds of stuff, I can, but there's a few things I can't. When I say I, police, I'm not in charge of it. One of the things that the state legislature doesn't give us discretion on is charges when it comes to domestic assault. And it sounds like you guys are living together, so you meet the statutes for domestic partners. And you do have injury, and both an independent witness, probably the next one we're going to talk to as well, which we haven't talked to yet, but the one we did talk to, and your own companion have made it clear that she was the primary aggressor, and that she was striking you and you received injuries. You haven't admitted to striking her, she has not admitted to striking her, the witness did not see you strike her. So at this point, you're the victim of a domestic assault, and even if you didn't want to pursue this, we don't have a choice. The best thing we can do to not, the law says we have to charge her, doesn't say we have to put her in jail. Okay, but it also says we have to separate through a no contact order, and then we have to put her in jail if we cannot separate. And there's a little problem here, you guys are out of Florida living in the van together, how are we supposed to separate her guys? Now I don't want to take this small 20, what is she? 22-year-old blonde hair that you could definitely defend yourself against, but at the same time, we can't say because you're a male and she's a female, we can't treat this different than if you were the male hitting her. We got to treat it the same. Yeah, no. So she's kind of in a tough spot. So unless you have an idea about how she could not go to jail and be separated, you have friends in town, somewhere she could stay. Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can go to jail. You can't because we don't have a charge for you. Now tomorrow, if you wanted to, you get with her again tomorrow.
Take your radio.
If if you want to be with her again tomorrow, because it's after 5, so office is closed, you can go to the police department, fill out a waiver to drop the no contact order so you guys can still be together. But she's going to have a court date online. In a week or two, she's going to have to show for a court date online and answer it. The prosecutor might drop it. They might say, for example, if you're not willing to pursue it, that's your decision.
I was going to say, it definitely is. I'm not going to pursue anything. She's not going to say I love her. She looks awful. I'm sorry that I had to get so public. But so I just want to get like the checklist of things I got to do to get rid of it. So there's an online court date.
Well, she'll get a paper with a court date.
How do I get rid of it?
Well, the court date has to be attended in order for them to decide whether they need to continue or drop it. First, it's just an initial appearance to say, are you who we think you are? Yes. First, do you understand the charges been brought against you? Yes or no? Yes or no, the answer. Do you have an attorney? Yes or no, do you need one? And then from there, she can ask to speak with the prosecutor. The prosecutor might be contacting you. Say, hey man, I don't see 110 pounds soaking wet, and you're a big strong guy, and you understand you're not even wanting to pursue this, because the cops have to call the statute. How, like, where, in the interest of you, of justice for you, the victim, what do you think? And they can decide to still prosecute, or they can decide to drop it, or they can decide to give her a plea and make it kind of go away so the hate come out. But that still does not eliminate the first court appearance that she has to attend, which thankfully for you guys is going to be online. You don't have to. So if you're out of town, here's the thing, if you're out of town and she doesn't come into her court appearance online, they can suspend her driver's license, they can issue a warrant for her. So she needs to play ball.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And remember her team, me and her and her team, I'm sorry about all this, I apologize again, but so she's got her online court date, just acknowledge it she's her, and then she's got one for the...
Well, there's automatically right now, there's something called a no contact order in place.
Yeah,
from this point forward, until tomorrow, if you wish to drop it, you have to go to the 217 East Center Street, Mon City Police Department.
I've got all the papers.
And you have to ask them to give it to you. You want to fill out a waiver that you're requesting a waiving of the contact order, no contact order. No contact order means she cannot come into contact with you, she cannot talk to you, she cannot text you, she cannot go onto any premises you're occupying, she cannot go to your vehicle. And until you drop that, or until a court date, if you don't drop it, it stays in effect until midnight on the day's court. And then that gives you time to get a protective order, a long-term one, if you feel like you need one. It sounds like you don't even want this one. So tomorrow, they open at 8, you can go in the police department, you can file the waiver, they can remove it, then you can say, hey babe, where you at? Let me pick you up. You can pick her up. Now, we're hoping not to put her in jail, but if she doesn't have somewhere to go tonight, to be separate from you, then where are we supposed to
I can't talk to her now because it's separation, right?
So, tell me this. Do you guys have enough money for like a hotel room or anything like that? Because what we could do is we'd cite her for this, and then I'd give her a ride over to whatever hotel your guys is choosing.
Pick her up there tomorrow if you want to know what
on your way to go pick her up, you stop over there at the PD, sign the paperwork that they're requesting, and then you can go pick her up quite literally within minutes.
Unless you know someone else in town that's a friend that you can stay with.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately not. I don't, and I guess that...
Man, I sure hate to... I don't want her to go to jail.
Well, if she goes to jail, it's like, that goes down somewhere instead of her going to a hotel, right? If you did a citation...
It kind of depends. So if she goes to jail, they're going to book her. They'll take her fingerprints and go on her criminal history. And then if they don't convict her, then it will just show that it was dismissed. It'll show up in her criminal history, but the charge was dismissed. If she's found guilty, it'll show up that she was guilty of dismissed. But the charge itself will show up on her criminal history until she gets to the expungement. Now, even if we give her a ticket, we're still going to take a fingerprint and it's still going to show up. Either way, it's still going to show up. There's no way around a Class A. Or is this Class B?
This is Class B.
But they do require a fingerprint on it.
Yeah. Okay, so the other part is if you contact her or she contacts you, she can be charged with a Class A.
Well,
which is a little bit different, but it doesn't constitute.
If you were to contact her and she responds to you, then she could get a new charge for violating the no contact order doesn't restrict you, it restricts her. So if you go talk to her and we find out and you're not in trouble, she'll be in trouble. So you're interested. Does that all make sense?
No, I'm getting it all.
It's a lot, really quickly.
No, I'm getting it all. I'm just trying to figure out a way through it.
You don't know anyone in town? You guys been around long?
No, I don't know anyone in town. If she went...
I don't think CTM will take her with the aggressor.
No.
There's a women's shelter.
I'm curious.
You can find out. Say, hey, she doesn't have where to go.
If you did the citation, like say she drove off she could drive off in this car.
We could give you a ride somewhere.
I got my backpack. Sucks for you.
I got my backpack. You can spend the night. You want to drive me to Delicate Art?
Does she have a good driver's license?
She does driver's license. Yeah.
So she would do vehicle.
Yeah, she can.
Well, then you'd kind of be homeless for the night.
And man, I can't talk to her at all. Well, and I've got to do the thing, so I can't go camping.
We can tell her what it is that she needs to do to get through all this, and then let her know what the plan is.
Here's the problem, though. If we take you up to Delicate Arch, you're going to be hoofing it from Delicate Arch all the way down to Moab Center Street, so that you can fill out that paperwork. Because if you're not there by noon tomorrow, you're going to be looking at Monday morning.
It's early on Friday.
Yeah. You'd be looking at Monday morning before you could actually see her again.
Again, we're not trying to make your life hard. No. This is written statute. There's nothing
a lot of bureaucracy.
It's designed to protect victims of domestic assault. Not everybody's the same. This is different than normal, but we have to treat everything the same. That's how it is.
You can't afford a hotel?
No. Very little money we have for sure.
You want me to? I'll call Sea Cave in.
See if Sea Cave will take you for the night.
I'll see if they'll take either one of them, because then we can figure it out.
This is the way they take me. Oh. Actually, Sea Cave will take him as a victim of domestic assault. Sea Cave will take him, and they will help you tomorrow.
And you're like a block and a half away from the beach.
Let's see if Sea Cave will take him, because they actually put up. Actually, they didn't take a guy, but they got a hotel for a guy last time.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Sea Cave might get you a hotel. Now, what she does...
I'm happy sleeping outside in the sleeping bag.
No,
I don't need a hotel.
I'm just saying, I think Sea Cave will get you a hotel. If you want her to have the van, we don't care. It's up to you. But it doesn't look good.
Yes, this is Officer Robbins with Moab City Police Department. How you doing this afternoon? Oh, not too bad, not too bad. So I just did a domestic, and the male is going to be our victim. Is there any way that you can help us set him up with a place to stay tonight? Okay. $10.99. Yeah. Yes, please. Thank you. Bye. Alright. So, the after hours guy isn't there at their office right now. He's going to run from his house over there, and we're going to get you all lined up. Don't worry about it. This is the phone call that they wait on. So don't feel like you are making anybody do anything extra. So, we're trying to make this as easy as possible. We're not wanting to take her and book her or anything like that.
No, I really appreciate it.
And I know how rough this stuff can be. Like I said, I've been married for 5.5 years. You know, believe me, if I were to say that me and my wife haven't had our share of spouts, I'd be lying to you. She lives with anxiety. I live with a woman.
No, both of us are really...
I know. Her anxiety elevates my anxiety. And sometimes it
that's why I'm like, I gotta walk away, I gotta breathe, and look in the backfire even then. You know, but
I'm not gonna try to sit here and give you life advice. You've been on this earth almost as long as what I have. There's nothing I can tell you that's gonna really make a difference, but at the end of the day, I'm sorry that this has happened. I'm sorry that it went to this extent.
No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Could I get my key and make like a little bag? If you can grab me something?
Yeah.
Is that alright?
Would you mind watching for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, just if you don't mind doing it from over here, we don't want you to get hit in the road.
Okay.
So I'll pay you.
Witnesses say it was caused like a slapping. And you say you slapped him and we're ready to confirm. I don't have anyone saying that he actually punched you aggressively. It sounds like it was shoving in a manner that was probably more consistent with trying to make you go into the van or to get space from you, not to slap the face. So, if the tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him, of course we're going to look at it like, oh, of course she's defending herself away from you. So we're kind of looking at it the same way with him. We have to treat both very different, the bigger male and your small female. The law doesn't say, hey, Officer Crown, Officer Robbins, you can treat
people different based on gender as soon as we can. Even if it makes no sense, you probably would not physically destroy the family with the heart of the order.
This is Officer Robert. Hey, how's it going? That's fine. I'm still going to be here for a few minutes dealing with this, so we have almost as much time as you need. So, his name's going to be Brian, B-R-I-A-N. Last name Laundrie is L-A-U-N-D-R-I-E. In Laundrie? Yeah, well, it's not Y, it's I-E at the end. Yes. So they were at Moonflower, the organic grocery store down the street from you guys, and they got into a heated argument. Both of them were saying it was over petty stuff. He told her to take a walk so that she could cool off. She refused, broke into the car after he locked her out of it. She started trying to slap and scratch him. He pushed her away. They both got in the vehicle, took off, and I found them out here next to the bushes. We are charging her with domestic assault. So there's going to be a protection order set in place between the two of them until he's able to get over to the PD tomorrow, because he doesn't want to pursue it, but I don't have a choice in this, as I'm sure you are well aware. So he's going to be wanting to go over to the PD first thing tomorrow morning as they open up to get the protective order removed. But that doesn't fix tonight. Sorry about that, go ahead. Yes, they both have Florida licenses. Of course. The other part of it is we don't think it's very likely, but with her as the suspect in this, would you be able to put her up for the night? Okay. I figured I had to make sure I at least asked. It's better safe than sorry. So I didn't know if that would make your life any easier or any tougher on it. So. Awesome. And if it's easier for you to just send me a text with a location, that works just as fine too. Thank you. What did you say your name was again? Pete or Philip? Phil. Okay. Alrighty, Phil. Talk to you later. Alright, cool. Hey, Hey, Brian. Can I take 2 minutes of your time real quick back here? So, because there was an assault that took place and you're obviously showing signs of the strikes, do you mind if I take pictures of the injuries that you sustained? I know it's not super severe. I mean, you want me to call, I can call the EMS if you want me to. You don't seem like you want to go that far.
If you want to take a photo, you can take a photo.
Yeah, I need to take pictures for my evidence because otherwise it's going to be your say, her say, my say, and the court's going, so I have to do this part of it, alrighty? So it's just going to be a couple of pictures.
You okay?
You like your phone, do you know where it is?
Yeah, there's
without going for it, where is it?
Just hang it up.
Go ahead and tell me.
Yeah, go ahead and tell me if you don't mind me grabbing it.
I can grab it because it's in a spot.
Why don't I go with you? Where are we going in the car?
Right face. And one of his ring fingers, I think, has got a scratch on it. And then you saw earlier.
Yeah, I saw the ones. Well, I was trying to build some consistency between the stories. And then let me see your hand, because that, I'm going to get from that one. That right there.
Could have been a pot. Or could have been a...
I know you said this is from a wire, but I'm going to take a picture of it just in case, and I'll document that you're saying that's from a wire, not from her. It's just, I want to document everything, you know what I mean? And then your right arm. Do you have anything on the other arm, on your back, chest, anything like that? Let me get your neck real quick as well. You want to kind of tilt your head off to the right and look up?
This way?
I don't know.
And then, this is just for precautions. You mind lifting your shirt for me? We can go back here if you want some privacy. I want to, like I said, I want to do a very thorough job. I want to make sure that you don't have any additional injuries you don't even know about.
I don't know how I'm good.
You mind here, put your collar down for me a little bit? On the other side? Good. So, I talked to my contact over there at ZKD. People that can help with hotel rooms and stuff like that are out of the office, so he's playing phone tag with a couple people trying to get it all lined up because certain people have access to the corporate card, he doesn't. So we're trying to get everything lined up. This is going to take us a few minutes to get that lined up, get her cited and stuff like that. Like I said, we're going to be handing her a piece of paper that has some of its dates, stuff like that, and she'll be able to give you all that information once you've got that. Okay? So, you want to hang tight? Well, yeah. You want to go ahead and finish getting your stuff with this fine gentleman here?
She's got her cell phone. She's calling her parents just to feel better. She doesn't want to not be with him tonight.
There's no choice in the matter.
Yeah.
So
Brett's nobody's calling the supervisor, at least that's what he said.
How far do you want to go?
She went to smack him. Well, he's got a swollen right eye, scratches, so we gotta go find it. Was it intent and attempt, or intent or attempt?
My intent to get basketball.
Alright.
You go ask her what her intention is. Is that what you were attempting? It says right here, an attempt.
Right.
You attempted to cause her pain or attempt. What is the answer to that question? But the only way you know what her intent, what she's attempting to do is by asking her.
Right.
Set it up right. Gabby, this is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you. Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him? What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me something.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. This is 100% your call. I support you either way.
I'll let you get back to your own parents, okay? She openly admitted to me earlier that she was striking him in the arm. Or he said that she was striking him in the arm. He said she was, and that's what caused him to hit the curb. She said that she got hurt. I might have this too mixed up, probably.
No, she said that too, that she started distracting him by hitting him, and then he probably looked at her, and that's why the mark found when he said, she said it was her fault that she was distracting him by hitting him. But she said she didn't try to hurt him, it wasn't malicious, she thought that he wasn't listening to her.
So assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. The code for bodily injury, the definition says, bodily injury is infliction of pain or physical impairment or illness. So you can go. Now I'm recording, and society and the judges and everyone can judge me for this. I am looking at a 110-pound female and her fiance who have no means to be separated. He doesn't want to pursue it. She's not a threat to him, more than slight abrasions from her fingernails. I don't care if we use the actual letter of the law to not charge, but I also don't care because it literally does possibly make perfect sense to go full-on domestic assault and do the whole thing. This is your opportunity to make the decision. Let's Go ahead. I better go on that. You got this?
I'm making this decision. I'm going to side him. I'm going to go follow the process.
Would you feel more comfortable handling that guy?
Yeah.
Go handle that guy.
Go handle that guy? Okay.
If you're more comfortable.
Well, it's 6 one way, half dozen the other.
It's up to you.
I mean, it's a headache whether I go left or it's a headache whether I go right.
Another option is to not charge them but separate them for the night. If they find themselves together again, what is it to you? You separated them. You provided for his safety. If he doesn't have enough sense to stay away and you got him separated, it's on him.
You can't babysit my life.
You can separate him and say, don't let us go off till tomorrow. If they don't let it go off and we hear about it, we'll hear about it.
They're camping in the park tonight. We'll let you know.
And if there's some fighting going on, you already was Mr. Nice Guy. You already gave him a chance. What you can't do, by law, is separate someone and say, if we hear from you again, we're going to arrest one of you. Because then if one of them really needs help, they may not call police and get help. The law says you cannot, literally, you may not say, we get more problems with you guys tonight. One of you's going to, you can't threaten like that. Right. It's true because it stops them from wanting to call the police to get help. Does that make sense? Right. So, go full or nothing or in between and separate them and kind of give them the nod, the wink, like, hey, you know, just stay simple. It's up to you. I'm going to go handle that. You got very capable help with you here, and I trust you.
I will. Alrighty, man. So we're still going to be going through. I do need some things from you, though. Do you mind if I get a picture of your driver's license?
Yeah. I was thinking it was in parts like that. This is me. Uh-oh. I know this man has hair.
You said that this is still your mailing address, right? Mm-hmm. Still the right way. Alright, and then... Ryan, what is the phone number?
I just want to say thank you guys for helping us.
Oh yeah, no problem. Have a good day. My phone number? Yeah.
Alright, there we go. Can I get your phone number?
It should just be in Zion.
Okay, do you have any problems with me taking a picture of it? I have to have IDs and stuff like that for my investigation. Here. So, this is what I'm going to do. I've decided I am not going to cite you for domestic violence battery, okay? It was only going to be a Class B misdemeanor. However, the domestic violence portion of it enhances it. Makes life a major pain in the butt, especially you're 22, right? So I'm choosing not to cite you today. So you are not going to be charged with anything. Alright? But this is what I do have to do. I am separating the two of you tonight. Okay? I want you guys both to be tonight away from each other, relax, breathe, crying, because there's no reason to be crying now, okay? This is... I understand that this can feel like it's a nightmare, but you're coming out as the golden flower on top of it, okay? So, you're going to be taking the van tonight, and you're going to go somewhere else. I am going to get him lined up for the hotel room tonight. I want you guys to stay away from each other. For both of you guys the same. From what you told me and what he told me, you guys have a bunch of little things that are building up, and finally the little string that you guys were tight walking on broke tonight. Does that sound about right? So, I just want everybody to breathe, get a chance away from each other, go eat a meal, talk to your parents, whatever it is you gotta do.
In here?
Just hold it so I can get a picture. So, like I said, that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. Hold on. This is Officer Robbins. Oh. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Phil. Is this your cell phone that I called? Okay. Well, go ahead and save my number into that phone, and I'll save your number, or this number, into my phone. That way I can contact the on-duty after-hours person. So... because I literally had to Google it, so. Perfect. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate your time. Alright. So, I've got him a hotel room tonight. So, here in just a minute, I have to keep you guys separated. For right now, don't contact each other, don't wave at him, okay? Do you want me to say anything to him? Because I can do that for you. You want me to let him know that you love him and that you'll see him tomorrow and stuff like that? I can do that for you.
Make sure he doesn't forget a phone charger. Definitely good.
Oh, he's bad about that too?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure that he has a phone charger, okay? And if I have anything else, please keep your cell phone on so I can call you if I have any questions, alright?
Okay.
Alright, so just kind of sit tight for me real fast and I'm going to talk to Brian. Alright, Brian, a couple things.
Couple things?
Couple things. One, I got your hotel room tonight.
Thank you. It's
Alright.
going outside.
So,
I like the outside.
Number two, and this is probably the biggest one. She claims that she did not have intent to hurt you when she was slapping at you. So technically speaking, it does not fit the letter of the code. So I am not going to be charging her with DV. Exactly. So this is what I am going to do, however. I'm not going to release you guys together. I want you guys to stay away from each other tonight. Okay? She's agreed to it. Take some time to yourselves. You guys both have the exact same story as to what led up to the incident. So, taking some time tonight, specifically, taking tonight away from each other is going to be the major breaker in all of this. I think that will help you guys, especially tomorrow when you guys meet up. So she does have a couple of messages for you. One, she says she loves you. She's looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Two, don't forget a cell phone charger.
Yeah, good. He watched me fumble around the entire 3 laps around. I'm trying to find one.
Yeah, find one?
Find one.
Okay. The other thing is I don't want you guys to contact each other.
No,
okay, unless
when he said that she gonna text me or whatever, I was gonna send her a message that said, please don't message me, but I love you. But yeah,
but tonight,
don't do anything. Yeah. And I'm with
she's passing on her love and saying goodnight and stuff like that. All that is stuff that I do to my wife too. Okay, so
I appreciate it coming from you.
Just so don't. Just try to not contact each other unless, like I said, earth shattering, something happens, you guys have to jump in the car right now and drive back to Florida because something happened to parents. That kind of circumstance. There you go. Exactly. Other than that, just go have a meal by yourself, catch your breath. You're going to be in a hotel room watching TV. probably been a few months since he actually got to sit down, relax, and some air conditioning and watch TV. So take some time for you guys. Yeah, take a shower, man. You got to change your clothes. You got some Tonys in there, right? All right, good. Because they're going to have everything that you need to ship camera conditioning, all that good stuff. All right. Our main concern is make sure that you have cell phone charger so you guys can have tomorrow. Okay? I really appreciate it. So I am going to walk her over here to the car. Okay? And if you'll just go stand over here in front of his pickup real quick, we'll get her out of here and I'll be right over here. Alrighty? You give her my key. Absolutely. Alrighty, Gabrielle, you want to step out for me? As you can see, I have keys in my hand, which is good, okay? So, something that I do, that I emphasize to him, and I don't know if I emphasize to you or not, don't text each other tonight. He wants to pass on the same message you passed to him. He's really looking forward to talking to you again, but I told him and you, unless there's earth-shattering emergency news, don't text tonight, okay? Even with the good nights, I love you. He's saying good night now. He's saying he loves you now, and you guys can talk tomorrow morning, okay? He's going to go to the hotel. I'm going to give you the keys to the van. I'm going to let you go home. Alrighty? So, here's that. I'm giving him a ride over to the hotel, okay? So, everything's going to be okay.
Will it be a far drive for me to get him in the morning? I'm just curious.
I'm not going to tell you where he's going to be at tonight. Like I said, I want you guys to be separated. But I can tell you this.
I just don't usually drive the van, so I just want to make sure it's not, like, far away.
No. It's...
Okay.
It's basically from here to Moonflower.
Okay.
Okay? It's not far at all. So, let's get you in the van. Let's get you on your way, alrighty? You want that Gatorade, by the way?
Okay.
You got enough water? Also, something I want you to know. Here, stand over here real fast for me. If you go over to City Market, they have a list of places where you can get yourself a shower for like $4 or $5, something like that. They're pretty cheap. A place where you can shower, decompress, de-stress a little bit. Alrighty?
Yeah, I just showered yesterday at one of those.
Well, you didn't have today happen yesterday, so
Yeah,
it does my wife wonders. When she gets stressed out, it's like, get in the shower. Come on,
It does
get in the
sound
shower.
really relaxing.
Go take a shower, relax, take some time for yourself, and like I said, don't text each other tonight. Text each other tomorrow morning after your eyes open up and you're fully awake, had your coffee or your morning routine, okay? All right, Gabrielle. You have a good night, okay?
Thank you.
Alright,
I got the ladder, I get the monitor, and just the rattle of the metal snippers to the comes out of the truck.
You ready for a ride? My door's open, just climb in the back seat for me. Yeah, you can put your backpack back there too. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sorry about that approach. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
It's alright, it was an interesting bullet, so. Thanks, man. Daniel, by the way, if I didn't formally introduce myself, I'm Daniel, I'm 229, so if you hear that, you know who you're talking to. Ryan. See, I hear you guys all the time. So, what's your first name? It was nice meeting you guys. Let's do that. What's that? You like it?
I was wondering if you get to play your own personal music in the
Heck yeah, dude. I got my own phone hooked up to this thing.
You just jamming all day?
Yeah. Hey, man, it's not too hard to go a few hours without having anything interesting happen or anything to get the old blood pumping real good, you know what I mean? So.
I stuck my hands up because I didn't want to scare you when you pulled over.
Oh, no, you're. That wasn't a traditional stop, to say the least. So, don't feel bad. SO2T9. Didn't already know. She did want to pass on her good nights and loves yous and stuff like that, okay? And she understands that I didn't tell her where you're staying because, like I said, I'm trying to keep you guys away from each other for tonight.
Where did you say I was going?
Say that again?
Where did you say I was going?
I just told her that you were going to a hotel. Okay? So, like I said, it's my request, not legally obligated to hold to it, but I want you guys to take some time away from each other because it will make world of difference. Oh, you're not in any trouble? You got handcuffs on? I didn't tell you that I'm taking you to the jail. No, I told you I'm taking you to the hotel. So, like I said, my main concern, I told her to go take a shower like I told you to, because she seems a lot like my wife. And things that really works for my wife is when she gets stressed out to go take a long hot shower. So I gave her a place to go where she can get a hotel room, or not a hotel room, but get a shower tonight for like $4 or $5, really cheap.
Oh, awesome.
So, no problem.
They do work on her too.
Well, I've got quite a few. Like I said, my wife has really, really bad anxiety, and she takes medication for it daily, and sometimes it's just not enough. Sometimes it builds up and it happens. I mean,
I think definitely the doctor told me that I prescribed me medication, but I don't want to push it. So I felt like if I took the medication, I'd like put myself off balance, and then I'd be more anxious. That's probably just part of my anxiety.
Well, I will say this. When my wife got put on the medication, within a week, I saw a complete turnaround in her attitude, her demeanor. I mean, she wasn't nearly as aggressive or angry or anything like that. It was a considerable difference in her day-to-day life. It made her quality of life better even. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you're saying.
And it's made my quality of life a lot better too, because I don't have her being as stressed. I know that 5.5 years of marriage, I know it's not very long, but at the same time, you learn a lot in the first 5 years. How long you guys been together?
I would say, well, we've known each other since the start of high school. But in a relationship, it's been 3 years.
Wow.
A little while. So definitely the 5 months of traveling together, it's been like green, but we're also like right on top of each other.
I used to drive a truck.
What's that?
I used to be a commercial motor vehicle driver, you know, the big trucks.
Oh, yeah.
And I took my wife with me, and we would easily spend a couple months on end without going home or anything like that, being cooped up in a little 8x8 cage is what I called it, because you didn't have any time to yourself, so to speak. You didn't have time to, you know, you're going through Arizona, you can't just turn off the road and go see the Grand Canyon or anything like that. So,
whatever you do too, it's like you with the other person, something like I'm trying to paint or something, or I'm making myself a snack. It's like, you know.
well, that was one of the major advantages of having her with me, was I could say, hey, I'm hungry, can you get me something to eat? She was able, because I was driving and she wasn't, she was able to go back, get into the cooler, make us lunch or whatever, you know. So, there was that as an advantage.
If you ever think that it'd be better to do this before I always go, I think you're wrong. I think it's not better. It makes life easier.
Yeah.
Have you been in this area a long time?
I've lived here, I'm just shy of 2 years living out here, but my grandfather's lived out here for like 40. So I've been through here a couple of times. But, you know, growing up in California, have you ever been there?
Yeah. 2 years ago, we did a cross-country trip, and
I love driving the one. I absolutely love it. But
we're really looking forward to getting back there. And it's beautiful here, but there's definitely different than before. It's coming from like New York and being on the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
It's all trees and waterfalls and rivers, and you come here and it's going.
Well, if you take the 80 across to get into California, takes you up over Donner Pass and into Sacramento. It's not any different at all. But you said you're going to be going up to Oregon to see her grandmother or her grandmother's friend. So you'll probably be coming down the 5. You won't be able to tell the difference between California and Oregon up there. Except for the fact that there's going to be a sign that says, "Welcome to California." But at the same time, since you're going to be coming from the east side of Oregon, you're going to be driving through Oregon and going, there's no difference between Utah. It's actually desert in the southeast corner of Oregon. It's a lot of high desert atmosphere like what this is. It's not the Red Rock or anything like that, but it's just, there's nothing out there for 120 miles, it seems like.
What was your favorite part of, like, growing up? I mean, like, parks, like, just because I'm such a big hiker.
Parks?
Like, hiker growing up?
Look, if you don't hit Sequoia National Park while you're in California, you are doing yourself a disservice. If you don't go and see Yosemite while you're in California, you're doing yourself a...
Yosemite, I regret not being there. I only stayed there for 3 nights, and it was...
It's like coming to Utah. You come here with the intention of 1 or 2 days, and then it turns into a week, and you're like, well, what happened to the time? Yeah, trust me, I get it.
Building the van was so great just because the Nissan Sentra, if you tried to camp out somewhere, you can camp in like the sleepover Walmart type situations.
Yeah.
But now it's all BLM land, and it's
wherever you want.
Watching shooting stars as we go to bed. So I was excited for that.
But yeah, sorry, my radio was going off. But no, Sequoia National Park, there is nothing like it. Gotta see the General Sherman tree. You gotta go and see Morro Rock and climb to the top. If you like hiking, it's about a 1.5 mile hike. Well worth it.
Awesome.
Gotta do it. It's really, really cheap for their tent sites up there. Do you have a National Park Service pass?
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's, I think it's the dream. It's $90 or no, $80 once, and it's like you go to 3 parks and it already pays for them. It's like 8 to 15.
Exactly. Well, the other thing of it is with that drive, if you go through Yosemite, you'll drop down into Fresno, and then you'll turn off to go to Kings Canyon National Park. If you drive through Kings Canyon National Park, the road literally takes you through to Sequoia National Park. And the Kings Canyon is actually bigger than the Grand Canyon.
God damn.
Yeah, I'm dead serious. And it is a sight to behold. I'll tell you what.
And then you're straight into Sequoia. So that sounds like
And then it takes you straight into Sequoias. And then when you get into, I think they call it Sierra Highway still up there. But you'll take that down and you'll pop up into a town called Three Rivers. It's where I'm from.
Three Rivers?
Yep.
So it wasn't terribly far from Sequoia, right?
My house, I think the furthest I lived away from it was like 12 miles from the entrance.
Oh, man. There you go.
I just hope you don't get motion sickness because it's I think I counted it out to like 32 hairpin turns, and it's about 25 miles an hour the whole way up and down. It's very, very slow. It takes about an hour to travel that 30 miles, 35 miles, whatever it is. But it's worth it.
I grew up in Queens and Forest Hills, and then I moved out to Long Island. Kind of surrounded a handful of others, but being in New York, you kind of not landlocked. That way, get to like the mountains and hiking.
Yeah. Alright, we're here.
And now you said that I didn't have to file anything?
We got. We're going to come in here, we're going to come talk to Tyson real quick. Tyson?
Yep.
Officer Robbins Phil called for me.
He did, yes.
This is Brian Laundrie.
Alright.
So he's going to get you all set up with your hotel room, and he's going to take care of it from here.
Alright.
Alrighty?
Thank you so much.
And like I said, just remember my requests. I think it'll make a big difference in you guys' next couple weeks at the very least.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything.
No problem. It's nice to meet you, Brian.
Nice to meet you.
Have a good one.
All right, so sorry.
Relax, breathe, crying, because there's no reason to be crying now, okay? This is, I understand that this can feel like it's a nightmare, but you're coming out as the golden flower on top of it, okay? So, you're going to be taking the van tonight. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got.
Northport police share an update on the disappearance of Gabby Petito, the Florida 22-year-old who went missing on a cross-country road trip with her fiance, now a person of interest, as new body camera video here reveals a little bit more into what happened on the road between the couple. Hey there, folks. JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now. We're still asking you to share to help in the search for Gabby Petito, the Northport woman who is still hopefully out there. Great to be joined here by 8 on your side, investigator Masa Saidi here on the right side of your screen. Team coverage here with you folks on WFLA Now. We're going to get into some of the comments here. Of course, for those of you who have been with us here before on WFLA Now, in the Facebook Live comment section, you can use hashtag HeyMasa, hashtag HeyJB, and we'll feature some of your comments. We'll feature some of your questions here on screen. We're about to play out this video that is rolling here in the center of your screen, this body camera video that we received from Utah police showing what happened after a fight between Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, the couple on the road there in late August. Before we play this out for you, Masa, what did we learn here in this press conference a short time ago?
So we actually learned some new information. So police know where Brian is right now. They are not telling us. Reporters were asking, is he at his parents' home? And they would not tell us. But they do know where Brian is right now. As of right now, he is still not cooperating with this investigation. We also learned that police are not doing a physical search, a grid search on the ground. They have received so many tips and leads from across the country. So right now they are working those tips, they are working those leads, but they are not physically looking for her, frankly, because as the reporters were trying to figure out where was she last seen exactly, when was the last time she was seen, they didn't have any clear indication there regarding that. We also know they are working with social media platforms as well. We learned that Brian did not have any history with police down in Northport. Just taking a look at my notes to see. You know, and a lot of the biggest question the reporters were asking is, why are you not forcing Brian to come in? The chief was repeatedly pressed on that. They want him to come in. They've asked him to come in. And the chief basically said, right now, this is not a crime. We are just investigating a missing persons case. He talked about the constitutional rights that Brian has. So as of right now, they are not bringing Brian in. And earlier today on another network, the chief also said that they are not trying to get a search warrant for Brian's home, for the boyfriend's home here in Northport that he shares with his parents. We know that they are looking at the van, the white van that these two were in as they were traveling across country. We also learned that they are analyzing some elements from inside that van. It's unclear if those elements are going to have any evidentiary value. They would not tell us what they are analyzing right now. So a ton of questions, a lot of frustration from reporters trying to understand why Brian can basically not be forced to come in at this point. We know the FBI was there as well. They did not make any statement. We thought they would, but they did not. Go ahead.
So what did we learn here in this press conference? We learned a couple of small nuggets of information, but more than anything, the headline here on this press conference is that they are still hopeful that Gabby is out there. They're asking for people to, of course, help. They're pleading for the public's help. You heard from Petito's father, who, of course, has spoken to 8 on your side. And, you know, the family has been, you know, very, very available as far as, you know, offering interviews to make sure that they are doing everything that they can at every hour of the day to try to get Gabby home safely. The one thing, we're about to play back this clip here for you folks. I know that a lot of folks are tuning in here to see this clip that we have here for you. We're going to listen to the audio here in just a second. But, you know, the big thing that I think that we learn here, the big question, and again, we can feature our first hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMasa comment here. Angela Gianna saying in the Facebook Live comment section, hashtag HeyJB, is he being charged with taking her van? Now remember, we learned in the last several days that when they left from Long Island on this cross-country road trip, the van, thank you, July 2nd, the van that you just saw there on the screen is in her name. So the van was then driven from Wyoming, from Utah, from that area of the country back to Florida and was in front of Brian's home, the home here in Northport, Florida. So people have been asking, and Angela has been asking, if he left that area with the van that was in her name, can he be charged with taking the van and at least bring him in for questioning to ask him the questions that are on everyone's mind? Where is Gabby? Where did you last see Gabby? What happened to Gabby Petito? That question was asked by one of the reporters, Masa, and the exact answer by the police chief there was no, that they don't have enough right now to charge Brian with anything to bring him in. And as you said, the Constitution of the United States protects Brian from being questioned without, of course, being charged with a crime, excuse me. So a lot of people asking, how are we going to get Brian in for questioning? And right now, still, you know, behind his attorney who's only offering statements here and there.
And to answer Angela's question, you would only be able to potentially charge Brian if she reported, if she was around, alive, reported that her van was missing. At this point, this is a couple. They were engaged to be married. And so you can't charge him with being in possession of the van. It's not like Gabby reported that her van was stolen by her now estranged ex. That's not the situation. So
the two
no to that, Angela.
Engaged to be married. Okay, so let's play back this clip now. Let's explain what happened here. In late August, Utah police were called to
August 12th.
Yes, August 12th. You want to set this up here, Masa? Yeah.
So this is new body camera video that, as JB mentioned, we just got this morning. This is from an incident that happened on August 12th in Moab City, Utah. This is days before she was last seen. A witness made a 911 call outside a convenience store. Apparently these two had gotten into some sort of an argument. When officers arrived, she was visibly upset. You can see that she is visibly upset. She was crying, she was shaking. It's important to note that the police report said that she is the one that had hit Brian in the face. And there was also some scratches on Brian's face to confirm that that incident had happened. And police said this was less of a domestic incident and more of a mental, emotional health break. No charges happened that night. The two were separated, and we know that they got back together at some point, JB.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is, what we did is we enhanced this audio so that we can hear it as best as possible. You can clearly see that there's text here on screen. We're going to play back this clip here for you. This is some of the snippets of the body camera footage. Masa, the entire footage is about an hour long. These are just a couple of snippets that we were able to pull out in time here for this live stream and this press conference that began at noon Eastern. But what we're going to do is we're going to play a couple of these snippets. We'll be back in 90 seconds. In the meantime, I'll keep my eye here. It's scrolling up here. Jason, Lori, Anna, a lot of Facebook Live commenters. If you want your comment featured here on screen when we come back here in about 90 seconds, use hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMasa with your comment.
What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got stuff, supplies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving. I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine.
This is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you. Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him? What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me how good.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call.
I am separating between you tonight. Okay? I want you guys both to be tonight away from each other. Relax, breathe, crying, because there's no reason to be crying now, okay? I understand that this can feel like it's a nightmare, but you're coming out as the golden flower on top of it, okay? So, you're going to be taking the van tonight. What's going on? How come you're crying?
All right, so that's the clip here. Yeah, emotional. Emotional because it's been emotional for a lot of us here. You know, we're hoping that Gabby is found alive. We're seeing Gabby here in obvious distress, and what we're hoping for is the exact opposite, that Gabby is found and that she can live a long, happy life. So to see her in these moments when she's clearly had a considerable amount of tension with her fiance Brian Laundrie here, and this showing one of the worst days here of her road trip, when clearly there were a lot of happy memories. If you go to her YouTube page, if you go to Instagram, there's a lot of happy moments between these two on the road when they left from New York and they got out to, you know, Grand Teton National Park, where she was last known to be. And but to see her here in this moment, this is a complete 180 from what we saw on social media. And it is a cautionary tale that what we see on social media is only a fraction of what actually goes on in a relationship between two people. Of course we post the highlights. Of course we post the good stuff. This is what we obviously we don't see that's posted on social media. And Masa, this tells now a completely different story. And I know you're going to be combing through a lot of this body camera video to hopefully find more clues as to what happened here.
Yeah, that's right, JB. So what we saw in that body camera video, as you said, she was clearly in distress. She was clearly upset. I haven't watched the video in its entirety yet. I will do that. It's an hour-long video, but in other parts of the video, she's talking about her anxiety. She talks about how she gets overwhelmed. And that short clip that you played with the officer questioning Gabby, it appeared to me that he was trying to determine if they could make out an assault charge. And he was being, you know, very nice to her. And he was saying, you know, take your time. I'm going to ask you a question. How you answer this question is going to be very important. And it seemed to me like he was trying to determine if they could make out intent. Did she have intent to cause him any harm? And when she said no, basically she said that wasn't her intent. I forget exactly how she answered the question. Then he turned to the other officer and said, well, looks to me like, you know, we can't really make that charge. It's your call. Ultimately, they decided not to charge her, which in the moment, that is the decision that they made. They were separated for the night, and now she is missing. He arrived back here with the van and without her. But this is very important video because this is just days before she was last seen, last heard from. And this gives you some insight into the relationship that she had with her fiance. And as you said, JB, this is not like what was posted on Instagram.
Yeah, and a lot of our commenters here noting that the officer called her a golden flower. I see a lot of golden flower comments here in the Facebook Live comment section. Okay, let's get to some of the comments that are coming in here. First and foremost, if you want to read the latest on this story, our entire team here, not just the entirety of the video, but our entire team here at WFLA, providing you with the very latest on the search for Gabby Petito. It's a team effort here, both on air and online here. So if you want to read for yourself what the latest is, you can go to WFLA.com, the WFLA app, and on the WFLA app, you can also get, of course, push alerts to your phone. Any update on the Gabby Petito story, we'll let you know about it. Any press conferences, any press releases, and additionally, you can read the latest for yourself there on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, hello there to you. JB Buno, Masa Saidi here with you live, and you can click on the link in the description on this video, the pinned comment below. It'll take you over to the same article, of course, on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. Let's take some of the questions that are coming in here, and Masa is Masa here, a former New York City prosecutor, the perfect person to answer this question here from Cliff. Hashtag HJB, why don't they arrest Brian for hindering an investigation? Last time I checked, that's a crime.
So at this point, no crime has been committed. The North Port Police Department is leading this investigation, and at this point, they are just searching for a missing persons case, and so that's how we're going to answer that question. There's no crime has been committed, so.
Cliff, thank you for the comment. Vicky Lynn, hashtag AJB, where do you think the last place she was? So we keep hearing about Grand Teton National Park. That is one of the many national parks in that section of the country, 30 miles from Yellowstone. We were talking about this yesterday, and we're talking about sort of vast area. And it's going to be extremely, and it has been difficult for the search efforts there, just because you're dealing with such an enormous area. Search efforts for when you're finding one person across multiple states, of course, it's going to be extremely difficult. If it was here in Florida, Florida is extremely diverse. If it was, could she be on the Panhandle? Could she be in Central Florida? Could she be in South Florida? Could she be towards Jacksonville? Anytime you're trying to find one person, it can be extremely difficult. And that's why this next question here is a big one, and it comes from Candace Hall, hashtag AJB. Have they pinged her phone? And of course, we have heard from Northport Police Massa repeatedly here that they are doing everything at their disposal. All technological means here are on the table. But if they haven't been able to track her phone to a location that gives them Gabby's whereabouts, then at this point, then you're thinking that the phone isn't going to be helpful at this stage in the investigation.
Well, certainly one of the most basic investigative techniques that they would have immediately utilized is to try to use the cell phone towers and cell phone data to try to find out her whereabouts. To answer that last question, this incident, this body camera video that you're looking at is from August 12th. 9 days after this incident, she had a phone call, a FaceTime with her dad. The last time that she spoke with her family was on August 25th, and as JB said, August 25th near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. So I think, would that be the way to answer that question, the last time that she was heard? As of now, reporters tried to get more information from the chief, and he said basically there's a lot of information, we're going through a lot of stuff, and that's the latest that we know right now. August 25th, last time she was heard from.
How about Lauren Agnelli here, hashtag AJB? Didn't she get a citation for hitting him? And that's where we're looking at this moment here in the body camera video, where the officer asks, the questions, were you attempting to do him physical impairment, physical harm? And was she issued a citation for slapping him, this altercation that occurred between him? And the entire video here, it's an hour or so long, and you can see the timestamps in the top right-hand corner from the body camera video from Utah Police. It's going to take us a long time to go through, of course, the entirety of it, and some have, but they went through the process here of how you handle a domestic call like this. And every state has different laws and different rules, different procedures but as far as diffusing the situation here, you can clearly see in the video that Utah Police try to do everything they can. They separate the two. That's a big part of domestic calls, Massa. One of the first things you do is you separate the two at the subject of the call, because you want to make sure that that person A and person B can speak unfiltered without the other person having to hear any of the story being told. You don't want there to be objections from it. You just want to isolate them.
Or if
and then,
one
of
person
course,
is afraid, you want them to be able to openly
Exactly.
talk with you. So what happened, I actually worked on domestic violence cases when I was in law school, and they are notoriously difficult. And part of the reason is that the people have underlying feelings for one another. And oftentimes, even when we would get deep into a case, the woman, it was most often the woman, would not want to press any charges. But in this case, it was Brian. Officers were talking with him about if he wanted to press charges, and he said that he did not want to press charges. He said, I'm not, quote, I am not going to pursue anything because she is my fiance and I love her. It was just a squabble. Sorry, it had to get so public. So when you don't have the victim and the case wanting to cooperate, that's partly one reason why police decided not to press charges. And again, I do have to go through this entire video and look at everything that happened, but that is the reason, one big reason they decided not to press charges, because he would not cooperate anyway. But they could have at that point, but they determined not to do that, JB.
I'm gonna put up Courtney Taylor's, because we have a lot of comments in the queue here, a lot more hashtag AMASA, hashtag AJB comments coming in here from the Facebook Live comment section. We're not gonna go anywhere. We're gonna try to answer as many questions for you folks as we can. And Courtney Taylor here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play the clip again because of Courtney's comment. Courtney says, hashtag HJB, when he says he's going to separate, so when the officer says he's going to separate them, she smiled a little bit like she was relieved. That should have been a red flag. So this is an observation from one of our commenters. This happens all the time here on WFLA Now when we feature comments from you or audience members at home, wherever you're watching from. And Courtney here making an observation that that Gabby maybe smiled a little bit and expressed some relief that they were going to be separated here for a moment so that Gabby could speak to one of the officers here without Brian present. Let's play back the clip here one more time. We'll come back here on the back end of it, and we'll see if you guys agree with what Courtney has to say here. Back in 90 seconds.
What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got stuff, flies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving. I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine.
This is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you. Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him? What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me something.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call.
I am separating between you tonight. Okay? I want you guys both to be tonight away from each other. Relax, breathe, crying, because there's no reason to be crying now, okay? I understand that this can feel like it's a nightmare, but you're coming out as the golden flower on top of the nose, okay? So, you're going to be taking the van tonight.
Masa, what do you think?
I'm not exactly sure if this is what Courtney was referring to, but at the end when he said, I'm going to separate you, and she had a smile on her face, the way that I looked at that was she was relieved that she was not going to jail today, not necessarily relieved that she was being separated from him, although I'm sure a break is nice after what they've just gone through, but yeah.
And I'm just going to present an alternative scenario here to Courtney's comment. Perhaps Gabby was relieved to know that they were going to be separated and spend a night apart, and that sometimes is the best thing for a couple experiencing friction in their relationship. Mm-hmm. Could it also just be at that stage in the body camera video? I think an hour has elapsed, and it's been a long time of just being prodded with questions, and maybe Gabby was relieved that this is coming to an end here without charges being filed and without a police report being filed as well. So it could go either way, but Courtney, we always appreciate our commenters being online sleuths and looking deeper into these videos and helping us and have a conversation with us based on something that they might have noticed here. Let's get to some more of the comments. For those of you just joining us, 8 on your side, investigator Masa Saidi, JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now. What we do here on WFLA Now, we feature comments from you, our viewers. It's very much a collaborative effort here. It's the two of us and it's all of you. And we know that we can't get to every hashtag AJB, hashtag AMasa comment, especially with this volume of viewers here with us on Facebook Live, but we'll do our very best to get to as many of them as possible. If you're trying to get my attention here in the Facebook Live comment section, use hashtag HeyMasa or hashtag HeyJB with your comment or your question. And as a reminder, and I said this yesterday and I'll say this again, we're not going to be putting up any gruesome theories, anything that crosses the line. So we're just going to try to have an objective and stay on the tracks, so to speak, here as far as our conversation here on WFLA Now. Let's get to this. And this is, Kelly, I'm glad you asked this question here. Kelly LeBlanc, hashtag AJB, how much time passed after this video before she went missing? And we have a great write-up on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, and I'm going to continuously let you know about all the resources that we have here for you on the Gabby Petito story on WFLA.com, because we have a timeline breakdown there for you. So if you want to know day by day, from July 2nd, when they left Long Island, New York in the van, to now, if you want a timed breakdown, it's on WFLA.com and the WFLA app day by day. But what do we say here for Kelly's comment, Masa?
13 days.
13 days.
13 days from the last, 13 days after this is the last
26th?
time. 25th is
25th,
the last
excuse me.
time that she spoke with her mother. She was declared missing by police in New York on September 11th is when, correction, not declared missing by police. September 11th is when her parents reported her missing. Later that night, Northport police recovered the van outside of Brian's house, and on September 15th, yesterday, he was named a person of interest. But this is August 12th that you're looking at. August 25th is the last time that she talked with her family.
And we have a question that just came in here from Ashore, #HeyJB. What did he say when the police asked him? That will be part of Masa's report, and we will, of course, get to that on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. Of course, we're going to put up the video and the portions of the video that we have, the body camera video from Utah Police. You have the log, I believe, Masa, I don't know if you have it in front of you. I know you should see Masa's desk, people. She's got a million documents in front of her here.
Can I answer this question?
You absolutely
He's asking
can.
about what did
Brian Laundrie say to police?
Right, so he's not talking with police. All the communication is happening through the attorney, and the attorney, so our report here says the attorney did not respond to our request for comment about police naming him a person of interest, but what they had said is that this is understandably an extremely difficult time for the Petito family and the Laundrie family. It's our understanding that the search has been organized for her in Wyoming, and basically they did not respond to the fact that yesterday he was named a person of interest. And they said on advice of counsel, the Laundrie family is remaining in the background at this juncture and they will have no further comments. So they are not talking. He's exercising his rights not to talk at all. All we have is that statement from the family and no reaction to that huge news yesterday that he is now named as a person of interest by police in Northport.
So that's what he's saying now. See, when I read this comment from Ashore here, what did he say when the police asked him? I think, or at least I took it as, what did Brian say to police in this altercation here?
I'm so sorry about that. Okay.
Okay, but
yep, I have the log.
You have the log. So I'm gonna let Masa kind of go through the log here. Ashore, we're gonna come back to your comment here in a second. In the meantime, I'm gonna read through a couple of the other comments that we have here on Facebook
at
Live.
What point?
Well, I think that what Ashore is asking, I think what our commenters are asking here is when the two were separated. Again, folks, we're talking here about the altercation that occurred on August 12th, that afternoon, here on the center of your screen that we've been playing back here for you. When they were separated, and Gabby was with one officer and Brian was with the other. I think people are asking, what did Brian say was when he was solo with the officer? I think that's what Ashore was saying.
Okay, let me look into that. You take over for a second, and I will pull that up right now.
You got it. All right. So in the meantime, here we'll answer some more questions. Glenn Rand, #HeyJB. I thought if there was any physical activity during any domestic situation, they arrest someone. This is not necessarily true. And as a reminder here, folks, every state has different laws, and all officers and law enforcement agencies try to treat domestic disputes with the attention that they deserve, but also with some sense of understanding here. So while there was some physical activity here between the two, it's you see the officer when you slapped him those times. Were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? She responds, no, never. After here, no, never. What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What is it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping him? I was trying to get him to stop telling me to calm down. And then the officer deduces from that, it doesn't sound like she was trying to intentionally harm him. So this is the line of questioning procedure is drilled into officers across the country on how to handle domestic disputes. And of course, Masa noted earlier here that it's one of the most difficult situations to handle for responding officers, domestic calls. I would love, and again, I know that we have law enforcement folks, and a lot of, especially in WFLA now, we get a lot of retirees, law enforcement retirees that join us here in our Facebook Live comment section. Again, hashtag HJB, hashtag HMOS. I would love to hear from perhaps somebody who's been at hundreds of these type of calls to gain some perspective as to whether, and we're only looking here at snippets, but how the officers handled the situation. But from everything that we have seen, they treated it with the delicate nature that it really deserved here. Let's see here. Erica Ann, hashtag HJB. If they determine that a crime was committed, will he be charged then for hindering the investigation? This is a great question from Erica. And first and foremost here, it depends on what crime was committed. Now, at this stage in the investigation, officers, police, investigators do not have enough on the van to charge him with anything related to the van, with the van being in her name and him driving it back to Florida, even though it was in her name and Gabby is missing. They don't have enough. They have to follow the law, and the law allows them to charge crimes when certain conditions are met, and in this case, the conditions aren't met for them to charge Brian Laundrie with any crime. So until they have grounds to charge him, they're not going to charge him with a crime, because that's, of course, how our country works and how law enforcement works. But will he be charged then for hindering the investigation? I think that there's a chance for additional charges in the future based on what they discover down the road, but you can't charge him for hindering an investigation when you don't have grounds that he had something to do directly with her disappearance, and they don't at this time based on where we are now in the investigation. Erica, thanks a lot for your comment here. Masa will be back here in just a moment. Let's see here. This is a grim question. Yeah, but you know what, Rick? We're gonna, it's the reality of the situation of where we are in this now. Rick Bradford, hashtag HJB. When does the law turn this from a missing person case into a murder investigation? Does it require a body? And the answer is yes. Well, yes and no. It doesn't require a body, but it requires confirmation that something sinister happened to Gabby Petito. And right now, we don't know. You got to remember here, folks, the family here is maintaining hope that Gabby is found alive. 8 on Your Side's Justin Shecker spoke to the family a couple of nights ago. It was the same father that you saw there, at the press conference in Northport a short time ago there, speaking with the FBI, speaking with police there at Northport City Hall. This is a little snippet of that conversation between 8 on Your Side's Justin Shecker and the Petito family, the Petito parents in particular, back in 60 seconds.
I don't know about you, but their child's home. My child's somewhere in the continental United States with no phone, no car. No, it's not as hard on them as it is on us. If you want to help somebody, you help somebody.
Mm-hmm. We have people across the country helping us, trying to give any tips, anything that they, maybe they saw her.
Every viewer that's watching this, look at every picture that you're going to see on this screen. Watch the video. Let her face burn it into your memory. Your heart is somewhere, and we don't know where it is.
The waiting is just horrible. It's just the worst feeling.
To me, in my head right now, a phone's dead, broke, lost, taken, whatever. She's wandering the woods because she can't find her bearings. Happens all the time. And that's what I'm going with until I'm told otherwise.
Hope there from the Petito family. So to Rick Bradford's a question here, and let's just, I hesitated with this comment because, it has the word murder in it. And we of course have to go based on the facts of the case and what we know here at this time. And there's zero evidence that Gabby Petito was murdered. And let me just make that abundantly clear. Based on what we know. Now, Justin, on our streams yesterday, made an excellent point saying that, that there are things that investigators know that they can't release to the public right now because that's how investigations of this magnitude works, that not all information is available to the public, that there are some pieces of information, such as information about the electronics, that investigators know that they haven't shared with the general public here, even though that the amount of attention on this case is gargantuan. It's just absolutely through the roof. But as far as this being a murder, there is zero evidence this is a murder. And I see the comments. This is now day 3 of many live streams that we have done here. And I've been reading your comments. And remember, we are engineered, many of us, not all of us, many of us are engineered to immediately assume the worst. There have been comments of people saying, "Oh my God, her body is out there somewhere." There's comments out there saying that she's a goner, and all of jumping to all of these conclusions. And that's we understand that. That's how social media works. People are gonna throw theories all over the wall to see if anything gains traction on social. We understand how it works, but let's keep things grounded in reality. The Petito family you just heard from is hopeful that they're going to find Gabby alive. Police, at least publicly, are saying that they are hopeful that Gabby is going to be found alive, and that there's no evidence at this time that Gabby is lost, or at least lost in that sense. They are hoping, see the vast area that we're talking about here in Utah? They are hoping that she's out there somewhere. They are hoping, and you heard there from Mr. Petito, they're hoping that another fight occurred after this one. Gabby got out of the van, said, "I am done with this. I would rather be out in the wilderness than be with you," something to that effect. Went out into the wilderness seeking something, or maybe just seeking getting away from the situation, became disoriented, and is out there somewhere. It's what they're. It's the thread of hope that they are holding on to. It's the one that I'm holding on to personally, and I hope that Gabby is out there and she's found alive. So we'll listen. If it becomes something worse than a missing persons case, we'll have it here for you. We're here in the Tampa Bay area, Northport Police. We work with all the time. We know the folks over there. So. And that's our coverage area, so to speak, here at WFLA. So as soon as we have something from Northport Police that we can share, whether this ends poorly or the opposite, we'll let you know about it. Some more comments coming in here. Courtney Taylor, hashtag HJB when he's. Oh, this is the one that we had earlier. Let's get back to Ashore's comment here. Hashtag HJB. What did he say when police asked him? Let's bring back in 8 on your side investigator Masa Saidi, who's been combing through the log here. Somebody just
read the whole thing.
Somebody at Utah Police had a very, very long day at transcribing this conversation, or maybe it was a member of the media. But regardless, you've been combing through the log here. What did Brian on this day, August 12th, in this altercation, in this encounter with police, what did Brian Laundrie say to officers when he was asked about what happened?
So that comment was made at about 5 minutes into the video. The officer says, "Tell me what's going on." And he said, quote, "She gets worked up sometimes, and I try to distance myself from her. I locked the car and walked away from her. What happened this morning is that she's trying to start a website. I gave her time. We had a really nice morning, but worked up because we were trying to get our day going." The officer then notices that he has scratches on his face, and he says, "You want to tell me about, the scratches on your face?" And he says, quote, "She had a cell phone in her hand. That's why I was pushing her away, because I locked the keys so I could walk away. I said, let's just take a breather. Let's not go anywhere. Let's just calm down for a minute." And then you see, officers, as they're trying to determine if they're going to charge her, he would be the victim of a domestic assault, and he's concerned, like, can I go to jail? And they basically tell him, no, you're the victim. Under no circumstance would you be the one getting in trouble. And then he basically says, I love her. I don't want to press any charges. And then they say, well, we don't necessarily need you. So they go into that whole debate before ultimately deciding that they're not going to charge her, not even with the citation. But basically what he's doing right now, JB, is he is exercising his right against self-incrimination. So You cannot. That is one of the rights that you have under the Constitution. So even if they think that he's the one that did it, they can't force him to talk and incriminate himself. You have a right to remain silent.
I have another question here from Brooke Lauren that we're going to populate here on screen again. 8 on your side, investigator Masaidi, JB Buno here with the live on WFLA Now. Use any of the hashtags on your screen. You see it here in the yellow stripes beneath our names. Hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMasa. We can feature your comments here, but only if you use those hashtags, because not everybody, and let me just explain how this works. Not everybody wants their comment and their name and their profile picture on a news live stream like this, and we respect that. So only if you want your comment featured on screen should you use one of the hashtags to get our attention so that we can then animate it from there. But Brooke Lauren with an excellent comment, and I'm really curious to hear what Masa has to say about this one. Brooke saying, hashtag HeyJB, what is being done to prevent Brian from being a flight risk? Since he's not arrested, can he run if he wanted to? Now we have to caution you with this type of comment that, as a reminder, Masa just said it, and you're going to hear us say it time and time again. He's a person of interest, not a suspect, and he's not wanted for any crime because there's no crime that he's being charged with or arrested for at this time. Brian is simply a person of interest and Gabby's fiance or Gabby's boyfriend. So with the context there on this, what is being done to prevent him from leaving? I would imagine that police are keeping very close tabs. You heard there the Northport police chief during the press conference, Masa, was asked the question multiple times. They know exactly where Brian is, and you would imagine that they're keeping close tabs on him. But if Brian said, hey, I had a vacation scheduled for September 16th, and I'm going to Cancun, is there anything that they can do to stop him from getting on a flight to another country?
So, no, the answer is no. So right now, they can't unless, at this point, absolutely not. So police said this morning during the press conference that we just listened to that they know exactly where Brian is. There's some reports that he may be at his parents' house here in Florida, that he may be at his sister's house. Police know exactly where he is. And as JB mentioned, I suspect they are keeping very close tabs on his movements, but they cannot prevent his movement at this time. And they wouldn't tell the media publicly where he is, because at this point, you can imagine this story has gotten so much attention that is not,
huge
information that they want to give out to the public.
So, Brooke, Brian is in Sarasota County. That's what we know, and
possibly. We don't know exactly where he is because they wouldn't tell us.
Well, right, and we don't know
his family there, so he's likely there. You're right with that.
We don't know that he's in North. We are confident that he is in Sarasota County based on what our team here has heard from reporters, or excuse me, from officials here in Sarasota. So Sarasota County on the south end of Tampa Bay here in Florida. Great place. But really, some major news stories have come out of Sarasota County. Allison Henning, our reporter there, has been certainly working overtime on all the craziness that has occurred there in Sarasota County of late. Let's see here. Michela Mando, or Michela Mando. I am the worst at name pronunciations.
No,
I should never have been given this job. Hashtag HeyJB. How do they know they were separated after this? Did they check local hotels in this area? This is a fascinating question. Police have a job to do. Utah police, they have to move on to others that need their help, right? So after this altercation occurs, how do they know that Gabby and Brian followed instructions and separated themselves for the night? And is there any hints of that in the log here in the transcript of the altercation, Masa?
So they basically told her that she can stay in the van and that he was transferred over to a hotel. And the officer came back to Brian and said, hey, she has a message for you. She loves you. She's looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. But then the officer basically just tells Gabby, don't text each other tonight. He wants to pass the same message, that he loves you as well. He looks forward to talking to you again. Officer basically just tells him, don't text tonight. Don't even say goodnight. I love you. He's going to the hotel. Here's the keys to the van. We're going to drive him to the hotel. And that's it. Then I imagine, I'd have to look further into it, but I imagine they went about their way at that point, JB.
Let's get to this one here from Shari Brandow here. Hashtag HeyJB. I was wondering this. I swear I was thinking about this on the drive home last night. how much restraint it must take for Mr. Petito, Gabby's father, to be here today in Sarasota County. You just saw him there at the press conference at noon Eastern. Masa, if your child was missing and somebody had answers, I know you. I know you personally. You wouldn't. There isn't a door in the world with a lock strong enough that would stop you from getting to that person. So, Mr. Petito,
and I would be arrested soon after, and that would help nothing.
Masa,
Not to make it about me.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
But keeping things on point here. So, Mr. Petito, let me read the comment from Cherry Brandow. Okay. #KJB. Can Gabby's parents go to Brian's house to talk to him? They have made multiple attempts to contact Brian, to get Brian to speak. And as of right now, he's not talking. Now, if it were you, Masa, if it were me, I could tell you if it was my child, I would go right up to the house and I would knock on the door. And that's my future son-in-law, or at least what I thought was going to be my future son-in-law. Right. So we don't know if Mr. Petito has been over there to the house, but you would imagine it's something that...
I'm sure it's something that law enforcement advises against. The Brian's family could very easily at that point get a restraining order against her family, so they're not going to get very far. I think the better route to go is to try to plead with him. You know, this family is under such a spotlight right now. And I think that's the better route if they're trying to get them to talk, because you can't force someone to talk to you. You know, you can go up to the door, you can't force them to talk with you, and you could potentially land yourself in some legal trouble if you violate any further orders. Like if they go on the property, that's trespassing. If they tell them to leave and they don't, you know, that could be harassment.
Mr. Petito is a better man than I, because if it was my child, I think there's nothing that would stop me from wanting to know where my daughter is. I think we have a time for about another. Oh, we have another note here. Time for another 10 or so minutes here on WFLA now.
I can be here all day.
All day.
That's a lie. I have to be on it.
Well, Masa's got a lot of work to do as far as our evening newscast tonight. All right, let's read this. And I think I have this here. This is a statement from Brian Laundrie's family here. I'm going to read this here for you. We got more #AJB, #AMasa comments coming up here. We're going to be live here another 10, 15 minutes. So it's the last call for your #AJB, #AMasa comments. But as a reminder, we're going to be doing a lot of live streams like this. So a lot more here on WFLA's Facebook page and WFLA.com. Statement from the attorney for Brian Laundrie. That is Stephen Bertolino, East Islip in New York, and it reads as follows. Many people are wondering why Mr. Laundrie would not make a statement or speak with law enforcement in the face of Miss Petito's absence. In my experience, intimate partners are often the first person law enforcement focuses their attention on in cases like this, and the warning that any statement made will be used against you is true, regardless of whether my client had anything to do with Miss Petito's disappearance. As such, on the advice of counsel, Mr. Laundrie is not speaking on this matter. I've been informed that the Northport, Florida police have named Brian Laundrie as a person of interest in this matter. This formality has not really changed the circumstances of Mr. Laundrie being the focus and attention of law enforcement, and Mr. Laundrie will continue to remain silent on the advice of counsel. Now, we have read this statement here before, but to the comment, like Lillian's comment here, we have a lot of them. #KJB. What has Brian said about the last time that he saw her? Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know because of exactly this right here.
Against self-incrimination, and there is nothing that police can do to force him
and you know
to make a statement and incriminate himself.
And what this really, you know what this translates to in one short sentence for everybody? I'm not letting my client be the fall guy. That there's no, that with a 22-year-old woman goes on a cross-country road trip, disappears, and right now there's so much unknown. That Stephen Bertolino here is going to do everything that he can to represent his client and put up the best defense possible,
and you know,
as you would expect.
And when people, talk about right now, it's just a missing persons case. It's just a missing persons case. When is it going to be something more than a missing persons case? Well, that would have to be like a determination that is made by prosecutors as they're working with the detectives and the FBI. Because we know the FBI is involved because this spans so many states and so many jurisdictions. That would be a determination that would have to be made at what point you want to call this a homicide and you no longer want to call this a missing persons case. And a no body homicide is a case that you can bring. Those are obviously very difficult cases. You would have to prove the fundamentals. You'd have to prove that the victim is dead. You could prove that by saying, oh, it's been 2 years and nobody's seen her. We followed up and God willing, this is not what's going to happen, but just to play it out and just to talk about how that process would work, you'd have to say that, it's been 2 years, nobody's seen her, nobody's heard from her. You would have to have some idea of the date that she died, where she died, and tie it to him. So as of right now, it's just a missing persons case. The family's hoping that she's going to be found. She certainly could be found. That is what we are all hoping. But at what point this would turn into no longer being a missing persons case and the court basically determining that, at this point, not even talking about her, determining that a missing person is dead, they would look at various factors and making that determination. And that is certainly not where we are right now. Again, they are analyzing the van. Could there be anything of evidentiary value inside that van? We don't know. The Northport police chief would not discuss that. All he would say is that they are looking at some things that were found inside the van. And if they get more information, we'll get it at that point. So that's where we stand right now, JB.
A correction from well, it's not even a correction. It's just a point here from earlier. I was talking about how we're confident that Brian Laundrie is in Sarasota County. It's also entirely possible that he's in Charlotte County as well, because Jim Hockett, a Sarasota County expert here for us at WFLA and a colleague of Moss's and myself, saying that, of course, Northport's right there near Charlotte County as well. So
I want to push back against you on this, JB. I think he could literally be anywhere. Police didn't give us any indication on the record of where he is. And so they know where he is and no one knows where that is.
I wasn't talking about on the record. But we need to you and I need to catch up here in a little bit, because there's a high without saying too much, there's confidence that Brian Laundrie is in the Tampa Bay area. I'm just gonna put it based on our reporters that have been covering the story there on the ground in Sarasota, and based on the people that they've been talking to. Masa, you could be entirely right that he's outside of the area.
I'm just saying I wasn't aware that anybody had seen him, but we can move on past this.
No, and we will, but there is confidence that he is in the Tampa Bay area based on some of the things that we have heard. Okay, Northport, of course, being in Sarasota County near Charlotte County. Let's get to this comment here from Tony. We only have another few minutes here with Masa and myself here, folks. Hashtag AJB. Let's talk about this. Let me know. We can even perhaps end our stream here by just breaking down this comment from Tony. Tony says, hashtag AJB. If you're innocent, then you have nothing to hide. Now, Masa here, folks, is a prosecutor turned journalist and is here with us, an 8 on your side investigator here at WFLA. If you're innocent, then you have nothing to hide. That is true. But it seems that Brian Laundrie here is following the direct advice from counsel, from his attorney in New York, and not speaking. Now, does that incriminate? It does. It incriminates him in the public view even more. It just makes it, because the optics of it are so poor. They're so poor because he's the only one with her.
Right. So in any jury trial where there is a defendant and the defendant exercises his right against self-incrimination, the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution, the judge will read into jury instructions before they go and deliberate and decide the fate of this defendant. They will say that he has a right to not speak. This is a constitutional right that you have against self-incrimination, and that is the beginning and the end of it. Certainly, Tony feels the way he feels. A lot of people feel that way. That's a very common thing that you hear, but legally he has a right under the Constitution to not self-incriminate himself. And that is the right that he is exercising. And the police chief said that is the right that he's exercising. And we all have to respect that right. That is his constitutional right. And you cannot. We can decide that, you know, our viewers here on WFLA Now can say, hey, that looks really shady. I don't like that. But if they were jurors inside a jury room, that would not be something that they could use against him, because that is his constitutional right.
So Masa here is an expert on the court of law. I'm a somewhat expert on the court of public opinion, because all I do is read your comments and read. And Brian Laundrie is not even eligible to be charged with a crime. He is a person of interest in the court of law in Masa's side of the world. My side of the world, there are people that already are certain that Brian Laundrie is responsible or has more information based on Gabby's disappearance.
He will never die this down. This will never die down for the rest of his life, no matter what happens, unless she's found and everything's fine and God willing, that's what happens, that this is going to follow him in your world, JB.
Folks, we're going to let...
Obviously, me and my family want Gabby to be found safe. She's like a sister, and my children love her. And all I want is for her to come home safe and sound, and this to be just a big misunderstanding.
Well, your thoughts after seeing that body cam footage, has it given you any insight as to the direction that that trip was taking that might have led to her disappearance?
We had a chance to review it. It was obviously very upsetting to us to see her that emotional, but we had no indication that, other than, you know, just by watching it, that, you know, they're in tight quarters, you know, for a long period of time, that maybe they were just getting a little frustrated, whatever it might be. But we didn't have any indication at all that it seemed to be any problems along the way.
Jim, have you ever had any concern before about her boyfriend, or now fiance? We're learning they did clarify in this hour-long video that they were engaged to be married. Have you ever seen anything happen between this couple that would indicate to you that he would potentially harm your stepdaughter?
No, he's always been respectful with us, polite. They've always been happy. What you pretty much see in the pictures is what we saw. So there was never an indication.
So you've been there in Wyoming for a couple of days now, Jim. Give us the situation on the ground there. We have heard that there are reports that the couple was last seen at Grand Teton National Park. How certain are you that that may be the last time that they were seen? And is there actually an organized search going underway now?
We are pretty certain that this is where her last location was. She texted her mom, said we're up in Grand Teton area. They were heading through here on their way to Yellowstone. You know, they had some stuff planned for this area, and we just have a feeling that this is where they were going to be. And this is the place that we felt that we needed to be once we realized that was one of the last couple of text messages my wife received. The police, law enforcement agencies, they're all working together out here. They're all actively investigating any lead that they have. Right now, we're just here to support them and help them with anything they may need. We have family and friends in New York and Florida, but we didn't have anybody out here. We felt the need to be out here and be present, and put faces with the family, and get out here and just be present.
Jim, our hearts are with you. We can see how difficult this is for you to talk about this at this moment, when all your goal is to get her picture out there, have people see her face so that they can call that tip line if they have any indication she walks by them, or they see her in public. So our hearts are with you and your family. Can you fathom why her fiance would not cooperate with law enforcement to help find her? Do you have any idea in your mind why he would not be answering questions or helping find her?
It's absolutely mind-boggling to our entire family and friends that you are on this cross-country road trip. You've been together for so long. Every picture, every video we see seems to be that you're enjoying yourselves. You say she's the love of your life. She's missing. You were on a trip with her, but you have no comment. You have nothing to say, and you're hiding behind an attorney. I understand the constitutional rights that people have, but you have pieces to this puzzle that we need to find Gabby, and you're withholding them from us. And whatever the reason may be, you need to come clean and come forward, whatever it is. Whether something happened or it didn't happen, I don't know. But you have to start talking. You have to tell us. Every day that goes by, it's another piece of us that is just falling apart because we don't know where she is or what's going on, if she's safe. It's unspeakable. It's terrible.
So, Jim, just in terms of the area where she may have been before the couple obviously split up and James Laundrie headed back to Florida, you're there in Wyoming, where you say you got a text message from. It's my understanding that the last confirmed sighting was in Salt Lake City. There was also a text message that was apparently sent to her mother, Nicole, that said no service in Yosemite. Do you believe that she actually made it to Yosemite, or could that have been something else?
As far as we knew, there was never a plan to go to Yosemite. The plan was to come up through this region, come through the Grand Tetons, and travel up through Yellowstone. You know, there was talks of, they were going to finish up in Portland, Oregon area to visit a family friend. So to receive a text message saying Yosemite, it's like 800 miles the opposite direction. So we're looking at the timeline now from when now we know that Van and Brian were back in Florida on September 1st, and those text messages received on August 27th and August 30th. It's a good 36, 37-hour drive if you drive straight through from this area to get back to Florida. You know, that time frame, it just doesn't line up. It's really calling into question who sent them. Was it her? We're really questioning it now.
Final question to you, sir, about your stepdaughter. And she seemed to be very open and wanted the police to know in that moment that she suffers from mental health issues. She was very specific. She said she suffers from obsessive compulsive disorder. She said, I've got a severe or extreme, I can't remember the word she used, OCD. Is there something you want people to know about her mental health as she is still missing, as that would pertain to the search, or how she might behave, or where she might have gone, or how she might act when approached?
No, I mean, I'm not going to speak too much on her medical conditions or that she may or may not have. But as far as her being OCD, she's just somebody that is very organized. She's always been very organized, and she was working very hard on her social media, her YouTube channel, getting her website going, and knowing Gabby. She's creative and she's an artist, and she's always very organized with everything, and she likes to keep things that way. So that's how I read that. But
right. Well, Jim, we wish you a lot of luck in your search efforts there to try to get some semblance of where Gabby might be presently. We'll stay in touch with you. We'll keep following the story. We want to get her back home.
Our best to your family,
Thank
Jim.
you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.